Hello and welcome to the Complete Hire Equipment WRFL Round 13 preview. Andrew Wilson here with Pepe Cavalieri. Before we get stuck into the games, Pepe, so let everyone know, is the E.J. Whitten Foundation Men's Health Round this weekend in the WRFL.
Yeah, for a great cause, obviously. Willow, us blokes, not so good at going to the doctor, so make sure you keep on top of that. Great to, in honour of that round this weekend, obviously all teams across the Division 1, 2 and 3 are going to wear armbands in honour of the round, and there'll be a E.J. Whitten medal presented to the best player from each team across all the matches. So good luck to everyone, and should be a great round.
Yeah, it should be. So all the men out there, make sure you go and get regular checkups from your doctors. So let's first look at Rams Division 1. Big week in Division 1. Top 6 play each other. 7th and 8th play each other. 9th and 10th play each other. We'll start with Caroline Springs, the 7th and 8th match taking on Sunshine. How do you think this will go, Pep?
Well, interesting. Could be a pretty good game. Obviously, we mentioned just then, Willow, it should be pretty good games all across Division 1. Sunshine with a big win last week against Point Cook. Started a little bit slowly, but eventually their quality rose to the top. And Caroline Springs, conversely, pushed St Albans quite away, only lost by 22 points, although the Saints were a little bit wayward in front of goal. I just think Caroline Springs, this is their moment to, again, take another step. Sunshine know a good opportunity to string a couple of victories together, just leading towards the Lakers at home.
Right, I'm going to go with the Kangaroos to get a road win. Deer Park take on Deltona. Normally, I say don't tip against Deltona. Oh, sorry, Deer Park. My apologies.
But you have?
I have this week. I'm going with the Vikings. Do you think they can do it, Pep?
I do. I think they've proven themselves in many conditions across this year. Obviously, they've had all teams have had to deal with a lot of difficult and horrible weather the past few weeks as well. The Lions they're creeping along nicely, sort of under the radar. I'm sure
Different for them.
It is different, but I'm sure they don't mind. They were well beaten last time they played the Vikings. They did have a few players out, a young team on the park, just like the way Altona are tracking at the moment. I don't think it'll be a blowout like it was last time, Willow, but I think they might win again. Yeah.
Point Cook take on Albion. Good chance here for Auburn to get their first win of the season. Do you think they can upset Point Cook at home?
Well, they're certainly a capable Albion, but I just think Point Cook showing a bit better signs throughout the season. Obviously, the relegation battle is clear here. If the Cats can get a win, you never know what might happen, but it's kind of do or die for the Cats. If they don't win, that's probably it for them in Div 1.
Yeah, I'm going to go Point Cook to win that one. Spotswood take on Hoppers Crossing. Spotswood look to bounce back after going down to Altona by a point last week. We saw Hoppers Crossing take apart Werribee Districts. They were fantastic. This is another big game, second taking on 6.
Yeah, well, a couple of weeks ago, Hoppers Crossing have kept winning, but they're still sitting in 6th because everyone else is winning. So this, again, is a huge game for them, the Warriors. They were terrific last week against Werribee Districts, who were very disappointing. Obviously, they got the pick of the weather in the second quarter, the Warriors, and took full toll where the Tigers did not. So it's going to be a big game. Spotswood probably unlucky to lose in the end. They didn't concede a goal in the second half and still managed to lose, and they kicked a couple themselves. Just horrible weather again, a bit unlucky for Hoppers Crossing. Spotswood at home for mine.
Yeah, agree with you on that one, Pepe. And the final game of Rams Division 1's Werribee Districts taking on St Albans. Werribee Districts must win. St Albans must win as well. So it's amazing Division 1 this season.
It is. The Tigers will be very disappointed with what they produced last week. What they did do in the last quarter was bring it back and save a bit of percentage, which they won't maybe think that that's as important, but I tell you what, it is very important. They could have lost that by 10 plus goals last week to only lose by, I think, 26 points in the end. Will do their chances the world of good if they do end up scrapping it out for 4th or 5th spot. Percentage is going to play a huge part. They must win. St Albans, though, as well. They played with a lot of heart last week, got the job done, didn't play their best. I just think the Tigers at home, with where they've come from not too long ago, they were pretty comfortable in the top 3. Now they're scrapping it out. So if they're a real threat this season, this is the type of game you've got to prove yourself, and I think they should.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Tigers as well. That was Rams Division 1. Division 2, Newport take on Windham Vale.
Yeah, Windham Vale for mine, Willow. Although Newport last week got a very good win against North Footscray, so their chances of sneaking into the 4 are still there. After a few weeks ago, we thought they might have done their dash. So, again, obviously Windham Vale is a tough ask. They've got the element of surprise. The Falcons have never played at Lancashire's Reserve, so we'll see how they match up there. But just the Falcons a bit too strong.
Yeah, agree with that one. Parkside take on Point Cook Centrals, 4th versus 3rd. This will be a good clash, this one.
Yeah, just the 2 goals last week, Parkside. So, again, it was a funny one that neither side had scored a goal to half-time. I think it was 3 behinds to 9 behinds or something like that. So, they kind of got blown away in the end, just couldn't run with the Eagles, who got the job done pretty comfortably in the end by 73 points. It's been the story of the season for Parkside. They've improved again from last year in their second season back in Division 2, but just haven't been able to bridge the gap between the likes of the Eagles and the Falcons. Obviously, they've played them the past 2 weeks. So now to take on the Sharks, it's another step up again. At home, maybe, but I think throughout the year, Point Cook Centrals have proven themselves just a little bit more class. Yeah. So I'll go with them.
Yeah, great. Sharks to me in that one. Final game of Division 2 is West Footscray taking on North Footscray.
Yeah, West Footscray with the break last week, obviously, so a little fresher. North Footscray might be disappointed to lose that one at home to Newport. I just think at home, West Footscray, a good opportunity to take a scalp. Sitting 6th and just keep themselves at bay from the bottom 2.
Yeah, I think West might win that one at home. Division 3, Laverton take on Glen Auden. This will be pretty one-sided.
Yeah, I think so. Glen Auden have sort of come into a bit more form after a bit of a slump a few weeks ago. It's so even in that Division 3 ladder. If we look at it, it's, there's not a whole lot separating those top 2 and 3 teams. Obviously, you've got Tarneet still hanging around and Sunshine Heights in some very good form as well. So they need to keep winning the Hawks if they're going to sew up the minor premiership. They can't take Laverton lightly. They've been playing some decent football the last few weeks as well. So, but I do think the Hawks will be too good.
Agree on that one. North Sunshine take on Braybrook. Chance for Braybrook to get some percentage because they're going to need that if they're going to really fight for that 4th spot.
Yeah, they absolutely do, Braybrook. So they're hanging in there. They're 6 points back of Tarneet. So if they can hope for a Sunshine Heights win and if they can beat North Sunshine, so they'll be back within half a game of the 4. So we thought maybe that they might fall a bit too far back a few weeks ago with the draw that they maybe should have won against Auburn Vale. So they're still in it if they can win and have a few results go their way, Braybrook. But obviously, as you mentioned, percentage is going to be important and they shouldn't have any issues beating North Sunshine.
Yeah, agree there. Tarneet take on Sunshine Heights in our match of the day on 88.9 Win FM. Big game for both sides. Tarneet to stay ahead of Braybrook and Sunshine Heights to stay in touch with the top 2 and get that double chance.
Yeah, well, if Tarneet win, it will make it very difficult for Braybrook, as we just mentioned. Sunshine Heights, a really good opportunity just to give themselves a bit of space, and they're right in the hunt for a top 2 spot. If I just look at the ladder at the moment, they're only 2 points back of Auburn Vale, so anything can happen. They did get well beaten by the Cobras a few weeks ago. I think it was more than 10 goals they lost by in the end, so there might be still a little bit of a gap between those couple of teams, but if they can beat Tarneet this week, it's a real statement as to how far they've come. They've been very consistent this year, Willow. We always knew their best footy was pretty good, but there was a bit of a gap between their best and the worst. They seem to have bridged it this year, so excited to get a good look at them for the first time this weekend. I'm
going to go to Titans at home in that one. And the final game is Windham Suns taking on Auburn Vale.
Auburn Vale shouldn't take Windham Suns lightly because they've picked up their game. They've got a few of the Manor Lakes players in, like Tarneet have as well. I think both sides have sort of welcomed about 10 into their lineup. So that can change things up a bit. Obviously, they've added to their depth because they did lose quite a bit from their team that was in the grand final last year. So certainly Auburn Vale can't be taking this game lightly. They have to win to stay in touch with top spot. And I expect them to, but it could be closer than we might have thought a few weeks ago. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty competitive game, that one. I'm going with Auburn Vale to win that one. This has been the Complete Hire Equipment WRFL Round 13 preview. All the men out there, don't forget to go and get checked up by your doctors. Let's hope the weather's better this weekend too, and good luck to your team this weekend.